Doña Esperanza, stammered Sister Ines. Matt's mouth dropped open. It was Maria's mother. He recognized her from the portrait, although she was older than he'd expected. Stand up, all of you, ordered Doña Esperanza. Carlos, Jorge, and the two sisters, Fidelito and Matt, all struggled to their feet. Even Tauntaun tried to sit up straight. I want an explanation for this, said Esperanza. Then everyone tried to talk at once, and she crisply told them to shut up until she called on them. She looked at each person in the room, her eyes softening only when she saw Chacho. You, she said, pointing at Tauntaun, you tell me the reason for this disgusting, unbelievable display of brutishness. And Tauntaun, without a single misspoken word, told the whole story. And that's important because Tauntaun stutters a lot, especially when he has something emotionally difficult to say. But this time, he does not stumble. He told the whole story. From the time Fidelito was condemned to caning, when Matt and Chacho were thrown into the boneyard, to when the orphans rose an avenging army, to when Tauntaun drove the shrimp harvester, to when he and Chacho were finally airlifted to the hospital. Esperanza had scared the stuttering right out of him. When Tauntaun was finished, no one said a word. The silence stretched on and on. Matt wanted to back up Tauntaun's story, but one look at those fierce black eyes told him it was better to stay quiet. Please forgive me for putting forth my opinion, Doña Esperanza, Jorge said at last. I must explain that this boy is mentally retarded. I rescued him from the farm patrol years ago, but he's never shown any intelligence. He sounds intelligent to me, said Esperanza. He parrots anything anyone tells him. Most of the time he can hardly string a sentence together. Can so, muttered Tauntaun. Esperanza silenced him with a frown. She turned again to Jorge. Are you saying the canings never happened? Of course they didn't, said the keeper. We may keep a boy on short rations for a day if he misbehaves, but we never use physical punishment. It's against everything the keepers believe in. I see, said Esperanza, and the boneyard is a myth too? You know how it is, Jorge said smoothly. Boys like to scare one another with stories after dark. They talk about vampires and the chupacabras. It's natural, but sometimes it gets out of hand. Matt's heart sank. Esperanza nodded her head as if she agreed with Jorge. Boys didn't tell one another scary stories. They did tell one another scary stories. They did make things up. But then, she said, the warehouse is full of laudanum. Is also a myth, I suppose? Jorge flinched. Laudanum? The Aztlan police have wondered for a long time how drugs were being distributed in this country. They were extremely invested in what they found at the salt works. That's a vicious lie. Someone's trying to undermine the reputation of the keepers, cried Carlos. Rumors like that are spread by idiots who want orphans to lie around like pampered house cats. We know they're squalid little parasites until they're re-educated into good citizens. If any laudanum was found, it was planted there by the police. Fine, then you won't mind taking a drug test, said Esperanza. She stepped aside, and suddenly the doorway swarmed with men in blue uniforms. They must have been waiting just out of sight. Sounds like Esperanza called the cops. Okay. Jorge and Carlos looked stunned as they were led away. I've been waiting for this for a long time, said Esperanza, dusting off her hands as though she'd just finished a chore. We knew the keepers were trafficking drugs, but we had no legal way to get a search warrant until Tauntaun told us what he saw at the keeper's compound. She borrowed scissors from Sister Ines and began snipping off the duct tape binding the boy. Nobody, ever listened to me before, said Tauntaun. You had no one you could tell about the dreadful way you were treated, said Sister Ines. Imagine living on plankton all those years. We only use it for animal feed. Matt was dazed by the rapid change in his fortunes. Things had been going wrong for so long it was so hard to believe that they might go right at last. Can we stay with Chacho? Fidelito asked shyly. We'll work something out, said Sister Ines. To begin with, I'm sure you would like a bath. The women laughed, and Esperanza looked almost friendly. They were interrupted by a shriek. A girl in a white party dress streaked through the door and threw herself into Matt's arms. Oh, mother, it's Matt! He's alive! He's here!" "Good heavens, Maria," said Esperanza. "We'll never get the smell of shrimp out of that dress if you don't show a little restraint." Oh my gosh, everything worked out. Everything worked out. So they found the convent of Santa Clara. They found not only Maria, but Maria's mom as well. And they got the keepers arrested, all within like 2 minutes of each other. So that's crazy. Next time, chapter 37. Let's see how much more we have left here. We've got 37, 38. Ooh, and that's it. So 2 more chapters, and this book is over. Next time, Homecoming.